Greetings and welcome to my new calculus channel. My name is John Gabriel. So, I'd like to talk to you today about problems with Greek terminology that's used in the theory of fractions. So, a lot of you have thought, oh, yeah, well, John Gabriel always speaks about the Greeks in a nice way. Well, I'm going to show you now that that's not true, and that the modern Greeks, in my opinion, are actually prize idiots in many respects, and I'm about to show you why. Okay, and of course, I wasn't educated in Greece, so I didn't know of these problems with the terminology, and that's what I'm going to be covering in this video. So stay tuned; it's an interesting video. So the words for denominator and numerator in Greek, or rather numerator and denominator, are onomastis and paronomastis respectively. Okay, and they're both etymologically, which is a Greek word as well, and conceptually inaccurate. Okay, sometimes the word arithmetis is used interchangeably with onomastis, but that's not correct either. And so, why is this not correct? Well, let's see what Google Gemini says about the etymology. So, both of these reveal a close connection to the concept of naming. And by the way, as you know, my definition of number is about naming. Okay, so for example, um, a number is a name given to a measure that describes a ratio of magnitudes, where the magnitudes are not numbers, by the way, they're just concepts of size, dimension, or extent. Okay, but we're going to look at this closely now, and I'm going to show you that those names are inappropriate because the entire fraction is the name. Okay, not just the numerator or the denominator, the entire fraction is the name. So the Greek root word onoma means name. Okay, and when you say onomazo, it means I name or I call by name. All right, so the numerator is literally the namer, or that which names the count. But this is what I have a problem with. When you're busy constructing number, you can't do it in a self-referential way. Okay, so for example, you can't say, oh, now you've got 3 in the numerator and 4 in the denominator. So for example, something like this. So you can't say, I'm going to use 3 and 4 there. Rather, what you have to say is this, is you have to say 3/4, let's just make that a little thicker. 3/4, okay, 3/4 is equal to the measure, okay, to the measure of a ratio where you have 3 equal segments. But wait a minute, you don't have to even, we have 3 segments, or these segments with the same length, and over here you have those segments. Now, before you can count them, you have to actually establish number, and to do so you choose one of these equal parts, let's say any one of them because they're the same, and you say we call that by the name of 1. Okay, and this is the measure of that, right? Okay, and so on, and then only can you begin to name the parts of a fraction. Yes, there are both names. These are names, but the entire fraction is a name. It's the name of a number. 3/4 is a number. All fractions are numbers and vice versa. Okay, so this causes confusion as I talk about in my article. Okay, so for example, 3/4, which is the name given to a number or a fraction, expresses the measure of a ratio of magnitudes as I've just explained, in which the unit or consequent magnitude, not number, consequent magnitude is divided into equal parts. In this case, 4 of them, and they have to be counted. That's why my recommendation is that we don't even use the English equivalents, which are numerator and denominator, which in my opinion are more accurate than the Greek, but not accurate enough. I would actually uh, prefer to say that the numerator is the measurer or metritis, and the denominator is the measured or the metrimenon. Okay, so in other words, rather than call this 3 the numerator, I would call it the the measurer. Okay, the measurer, and the bottom one I would call the measured. Does that make sense? Okay, so because I mean, till you've actually done those processes and you've given the objects names, you can't really use 3 and 4 there, okay, because 3 itself is a number. Okay, so if you write 3, it's the same as 3 over 1, and it's the measure of the ratio of this ratio, isn't it? It's the measure of this ratio. Okay, and of course another bad thing that the Greeks do in their schools is they confuse things. Instead of, for example, writing 3 divided by 2, okay, which is correct to say 3 divided by 2, they write 3 colon 2. But this here is what pertains to a ratio, not a number. The measure of this numeric ratio, as opposed to a magnitudinal ratio like this, okay, is known as a number, and it's written as 3 over 2. The number 3 over 2 is obtained from the measure of the following ratio of line segments. Okay, you've got 2 line segments here and 3 line segments here, all equal. This line segment here is what? The measurer, right? What does it measure? It measures the common line segment. 1, 2, 3. And 2 is the measured. And of course you can also think of this whole line segment as measuring this one, because then it would be 1 like that, okay, and a half, okay, it would be 1 and a half, right? So all the above different colored line segments are of equal length. And so the word arithmos, by the way, is literally means to measure or count. Okay, it's to measure or count, and it uses the abstract unit. Okay, in other words, a unit whose type and size is not relevant. We don't care about the type and size. That's why you can count 1 apple, 1 car, and 1 glass as 3 objects, okay, because you don't care about their types and size. So the ancient Greeks, by the way, did not use these incorrect terms. I just want to make that very clear. Onomastis and paronomastis are modern Greek terms, and their clarity of thought, the ancient Greeks, was unmatched by any before or after them. So it's unfortunate that there are many highly stupid Greek mathematics academics who should have never been allowed in a classroom, never mind to teach. I'll give you a link to this article. And that's all I have to say. If you're not already a subscriber to my channel, please become a subscriber, click like, and follow me on Academia.edu. And remember, I'm for the truth. I always stand up for truth, regardless of how inconvenient it is. And modern Greeks in mathematics community are a bunch of morons, okay, teaching the whole theory of fractions wrong. That's why there's such a decline in the mathematical ability of Greek students because of stupid terms like onomastis and paronomastis, which mean absolutely nothing to children. Okay, it's like saying the namer and the co-namer. I mean, think about that. The namer, it's like calling 3 the namer and 4 the co-namer. Nope, that's incorrect. Okay, this bottom part tells us how many equal parts the unit or the measured part is divided into, and the top one tells us how many of those we use to form the entire number, 3/4. So I hope I've made that clear, but there are many good, there are 2 good free ebooks on my Academia.edu channel, which you can access. The one is called Learning the Correct Way. I'll also place a link to it. And then another one, Essential Mathematics for Teaching Mathematics Lecturers and Teachers, how to teach these concepts. I am John Gabriel, and this is a new Calculus channel. Till next